Hi, Pastor Brian here with your Thriving Through Hope devotional on how to be a better leader at home, work, church. Recently, I read through the book of Judges. This book records 400 years of Israel's dark and evil history, a time where everyone did what seemed right in their own eyes. So what happened? Well, according to chapter 2, verse 10, we read, another generation who grew up who did not acknowledge the Lord or remember the mighty things he had done for Israel. The writer of Judges describes it 4 times this way. At that time, there was no king in Israel. Now, wait a second. There was a king in Israel. Their king was God himself. But the people rejected God as their king. And this led to moral, political, and spiritual destruction. See, when a society rejects God's leadership and refuses to obey his word, this leads to radical individualism, where people are self-guided morally and ethically. Then you end up with a culture where everyone does what seems right in their own eyes. This period in Israel's history does not look much different than our present day time. See, today we hear things like, you be you. Follow your heart. Let your heart be your guide. That sounds a lot like everyone did what seemed right in their own eyes. See, when people do what's right in their own eyes, often they do what's evil in God's eyes. When a society lives absent from God, evil will prevail. The book of Proverbs warns us of this. Proverbs 14:12. There's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Proverbs 16:25. There's a path before each person that seems right, but its end is death. Now, in light of today's current issues in the Supreme Court or the mass shootings that we've all been witnessing, I don't want to sound political, but rather biblical. Why? Because we don't have a political issue, we have a spiritual issue. So we don't need a political answer, we need a spiritual answer. And the only hope for a society that's living absent from God is a spiritual awakening, where people turn to God, accept him as their king, and live according to his word. I find great hope in what Nehemiah wrote about God and the people of Israel during another dark time in their history. Here's what Nehemiah wrote in chapter 9 of his book. In your love, you were patient with them for many years. You sent your spirit who warned them through the prophets, but still they wouldn't listen. So once again, you allowed the peoples of the land to conquer them. But in your great mercy, you did not destroy them completely or abandon them forever. What a gracious and merciful God you are. Our society needs God's grace and mercy today. We need to turn to God and make him king of our lives. Jesus is the answer. He's the only answer. A spiritual awakening is our only hope that we have as a society. So let's pray together for a great spiritual awakening. Now go make it a great day.